Hey, Sandra, y'all. Welcome to Scotch on the Bayou. Leanne here. And I want to welcome everybody in for an exceptional Tuesday night. Every Tuesday night with all of you folks is always special. But tonight we have some crazy drams that we're going to go through with a very special guest of mine who I'm going to bring in just a hot minute to fill this seat over here. So I'm so stoked. I don't know if you saw the Instagram post, but yeah, we have some a herd of unicorns. Let's just put it that way. Let's see who all is in and seeing. Mark's got the realm and going. Mike's in. Hey, cheers and salons, your friend. Good to see you. Rob is in. Hello, everybody. And Bruce also. Cool. Thanks for being here. And in the wee hour of the English morning, hello, Andrew. I hope you're doing well. Miss seeing you, buddy. Dare I say you might be one of the people that probably have a couple of these. I would imagine, given the breadth of your collection over there. Thanks so much for being here. We've missed you. Taste and Sensibility is here. Good evening, everyone. It's great to see folks. Trooper. Impressive lineup tonight. Friend, you ain't even see. We just scratching the surface on the three bottles you saw. We're doing seven of them tonight. So yeah, gonna have a lot of fun. And you are again offshore. So we're gonna have a taste for these for you because I know you can't have anything out there. But thanks a bunch for making enough gas and stuff for us all to get around. Sugar Kitty's in. Hey, friend, reality, you too. Good to see you. And this has been a busy woman, Stacy. Oh my gosh. Sandra, everyone. She's right on the cusp of St. Patrick's Day with all of her Irish going on. She's helped introduce the Irish picks for the state of Ohio this week. She has been one very busy woman. And she's like, oh darn, made me have to talk about Irish whiskey, right? Um, Thanks for being here, friend. I appreciate it. And Graham, again, chilly. Don't want to tell you it was 70 something degrees this afternoon, friend. Uh, Thanks, Graham, for being here. I think you're gonna get a kick out of some of these drams for sure. But yeah, you and Andrew might have seen some of these or have some of these mainly because of proximity, because these are not things that we get around here a whole lot. Tom's in. Hey, oh, good to see you, Tom. I was just telling my friend here about my tile that your wife made of Strath Isla, which is going to be our very first dram. So be sure to watch for that. Roscoe P. Coltrane is in. Oh my gosh, friend, thanks for being here. Yeah, I hate it for you. I do. You're doing doing the Lord's work of pouring Waterford whiskey for folks. Yeah, poured their Waterford cuvee. I bet that was awesome. Yeah, awesome. Cool. Look at all the folks in. I love it. Jimmy Jazz is in. Hello, whiskey folks in the Bayou. Yep, we're all here. Excited, very excited. Mark, I don't know. I was just talking about you. Talking about when you were here in studio and we did all the port cast stuff. So glad you're here, friend. I know you got a million things to go. Um, it has been a minute. Martin, thank you for being in. I know you have a lot going on, including your live shows on Instagram in the later evening hours. So everybody check him out on Instagram for sure. Yeah, I missed you too, friend. I hope you're doing well. Um, Goodness gracious. Oh, Andrew, I'm sorry you've been under the weather, but I'm glad you're right back at it and here. So we'll have a lot of fun. I want to say, well, let me say how to this one. Howdy, folks. Yes, it's been a day. I'm sorry that it's been a day, but I'm really glad you're with us, Gregor. Um, Soccer dad things. You're living your best life, and Brody appreciates it. So, thanks for being here. But yeah, we're gonna get into some drams for sure. But I wanted to welcome my guest. He is in the chat from time to time. He is here in Baton Rouge, and he is one of the most generous people I know because he understands whiskey is best taste when shared, and for whatever reason he's decided I'm okay to share it with. So if everybody could come and visit with my friend Kevan. So welcome to the studio, Kevan.
Hello.
So it's Kevan, and on Instagram it's at BR Scotch if you want to give him a follow. I think you're on there a little bit, but it's not like
not since I've had a kid.
Not since you had a kid. He has some other obligations of being a dad, which is the number one job, and number two is coming along very quickly, which is why he was able to jump in and do a show. Do a show this week because in a couple of weeks it's going to be double dad duty.
April 12th.
April 12th. That's awesome. What a blessing. That's great. And shout out to Sarah who I got to meet and your daughter this weekend. But I appreciate your due diligence and patience and letting me borrow him for a little while. Because you know what you have and what we've met over a year or so ago when we started talking about Scotch, because within our local club it's primarily bourbon folk, you know, which is fine, and we love it, and we love that those folks love bourbon. And then we have a really great event called a bottle share. So it kind of been one of those things. I would bring some Scotch for people to try that I thought most bourbon people would like. So sherry and wine finishes, some things like that. Maybe not some of the heavier peaty things. I would want to kind of, so construction guy, you know, I would want to kind of be able to push them a little bit, but most folks aren't going to go just jump into peat like that. And then this guy shows up and he's like, yeah, I really like Scotch. And he lived really close. He's like, hang on, let me go home. And he comes back with a box of bottles. And so we kind of squirreled off to the corner, you know, because it wasn't that we didn't want to share. And I had a couple of bottles. Like, but I knew that wasn't going to be other people's jam. You knew that those things weren't going to be other people's jam. Right. But when you find a kindred soul and you go, okay, this is going to be your jam. We all know, and our buddy Roy talks about this, you know, whiskey tastes better when it's shared. And to be able to talk about it and just chat about it and like, what are you getting out of this? What are you doing with that? You know, I think it's really interesting that you play off of that. And just like we do in the chat for different things that we want to experience. And so you had given me a couple of bottles here. It's like, here's the end of this. Let me give you that. And I knew that you were a Klein Leash guy, you know, loves that.
Who isn't?
Right. But so, and y'all let me know if we're okay with the sound because we're two into one mic here.
My first time.
Your first time. I'll just, you know, project and chat and everybody will pick it up for sure. But what is it about Klein Leash that you really, really like?
I think it was that first mouthfeel and getting the waxiness.
Yeah.
That was different from anything I had before.
Right.
And it's just,
it
blew me away.
Yeah. Well, so I think I had that 19 Klein Leash, that Lanark, that I had, and you had an Adelphi Klein Leash that was sherry based that still had the waxiness, as opposed to the distiller's edition that has zero that I found out this summer. But, you know, so it's that kind of thing. You start talking and you're like, oh man, you ought to try this. You ought to try that. So that's kind of where we have gone, including a few other bottles that you graced me with. So I cannot compete. It is not a competition, but we have a selection. Because I said, you know, you brought some bottles that we kind of killed. We killed. Yeah. And they were, you know, bottles with this much left in it, you know. So they need to be drunk, right? You don't want them to oxidize, especially these bottles. You don't want them to oxidize. So we started talking about, because I really wanted you to come on the show, maybe do a blind. And it was like, no. And you're like, well, we've got these bottles. We really need to drink them. And I'm like, oh, darn. I could help you with that, I think, you know. So we started what I really want to tell people, and I'm going to tell Anya, is so Saturday we're going through all of this to kind of figure out what we're doing. And Sarah, rightly so, has pushed a lot of his collection out of her kitchen pantry, but it has been relegated to where?
My bathroom.
Your bathroom.
My linen closet.
Your linen closet. And you even told me at the bottle share, oh, that's my shower dram. And I'm like, is he drinking scotch in the shower? Like, what are you doing?
Y'all don't?
I'm like, okay. So anyway, long story short, we go into their master bathroom, and he opens up the cabinet and he's got all of these bottles. And so we're putting all the bottles on the counter. On the bathroom counter.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, here's one and here's one. And I'm like, I feel like I'm at Disney World. I was just like, I cannot believe all of these, but we can't drink all of these. So let's get a theme. So the good news is we're going to have another show, probably post number 2 baby at some point when he needs a daddy night out. So I'm not going to spoil on that. But what we did is we found some bottles that had the theme of decades. And you read the title right. We have 7 different expressions we're going to go through tonight. All are 40 to 43-ish ABV. So we should not be adorable or precious. We might be adorable by the end. We're going to go over an hour, y'all, because there's no way we're going to drink these fast. But we start at a distillation date in the 50s through the 90s. So buckle up, because this is our first dram. You want to tell us about it?
I feel like I'm going to mispronounce it, but Strath Isla from 1957.
1957, y'all. Okay. So 1957, and let's see if I can not let it see us. There we go. Strath Isla, 1957. It was bottled in 2010. It is 53 years old. This is the oldest dram I've ever had that I'm thinking.
It's one of the oldest for me.
It's one of the oldest for you. So while I'm gonna kind of go back through. So this is interesting. He's asking. So Graham is asking, why don't you, if you get a half empty bottle, move them into smaller bottles and save the spirit?
I would, but I'd rather just drink them.
You just drink them. I mean, like.
But I have to find some. I should do that. Yes, I should.
Yeah.
But I'd rather just finish them off with
just drink them.
Somebody that'll appreciate them.
I have great appreciation. Wow. Yeah, Rob. Wow has been a lot of my my reactions here lately. So when you think about 1957, Mark, that's his birth year. 56 is. Sorry, honey. Man. I know I've missed some good stuff up here. So tell me what you're getting on the nose on this. I mean, the color's just beautiful russet.
I feel like the fan's blowing.
Oh, is it? I can get out of the way.
No, that's fine.
That's good. So Sugar Key says it used to get Strath Isla and Glenkeith all day long back in the day. Now it's a bunch of Chevis brands. Yep. Not just on the shelf anymore. Interesting. Yeah, and it's beautiful with the 2 pergolas, and it's like right that kind of down that hill when you're looking in there. Goodness. So I don't know if y'all saw Graham's post on Facebook, but there's been another cancellation of the of Calumet ferries from the mainland and Dawson. No, probably got that wrong with the name, over to Campbelltown. So there's others, but yeah, just be careful about that part.
I'm just getting a lot of wood and like dark cherry notes.
Yeah, and I get a little bit of that, like a little bit of, I mean, definitely a sherry note, but it's very subdued, and a little more like a. I get the cherry, but there's a little bit of tobacco kind of thing on there, almost like a little mint or pine something.
As soon as you said tobacco, I got leather.
You got leather. I had to put my leather purse in the other room because it still is outgassing so much. But just so this one is at 43 ABV. Like I said, these are not cast strength hot versions.
But at 3 years old, I don't think 53. It would be that much higher.
No, it's amazing that it didn't go down further that old. Surprising, like it's got a little warmth and heat on the back end on the finish.
I think I'm late in the finish.
You got sherry notes. I mean, it's kind of warm, like a white pepper kind of thing. What kind of sweetness are you getting on it though? Because it hits and it fades for me.
To me, that'd be like a cough syrup sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's a little sweetness, but it's bitter. Like not bitter, but
yeah, but it's not saccharine. It's not like super like sugar sweet. It's kind of fruity, but not like a sherry bomb fruity. And then I really get the wood on the finish, as you would imagine. It's sitting in a cask for 53 years, right?
I feel like if somebody complains about the wood, it's like, well, don't drink a 53 year.
What do you think it's supposed to taste like? Stainless steel? You know? Yeah. Oh, oh goodness. Finally, a dream dram that was barely distilled before you were born. I hear you.
Way before I was born.
That was I know your
86.
Your taste. Oh God. Your taste is. I'm not old enough to be, but could be your cool aunt. Let's put it that way. Yeah. And that's Andrew's sister was born that year. That's awesome. And Trooper's dad graduated from high school that year. Oh man. You started primary school in 1957? Graham. You know. Yeah. So yeah, the ferry that's down for the whole entire summer. It's not just down. It's gone. It's not going to run all summer. And that's the one that gives you kind of like you could take Glasgow south and hit Rawson to then go to Erin. I think that one may still be running, hopefully, but the one to Campbelltown is not. But you can take the road to Campbelltown. Do I think I think this was wholly completely sherry. I don't know. You got younger eyes than I do. You can read to see.
Just oak cast.
Oak cast is all it says. Yeah. Hey everyone, good to see you again, friend. And Bruce was 3. So how you remember black and white toy Scotch terriers? Yes, I've got a couple of fun swag things, antique stuff that my mom has found. The black and white, for sure. Those were really cool. So we actually have 7 glasses because I wanted to take my time with a couple of them. and see. Let me turn that way.
They actually have notes.
Yeah. So, want to read the notes?
The palate, rich sherry influences with aniseed and cinnamon flavors. I don't know
What is that?
Probably aniseed.
Anise. Yeah,
Aniseed?
aniseed. It's like licorice, kind of.
Okay.
I think that's quite tempered. I get kind of a spicy note, but to me, it's not so much like a red hot cinnamon. And my God, it's not Fireball. Gee whiz. But it's more like a white pepper to me.
I get the cinnamon though now.
You
but
do?
Maybe because I read that.
That kind of happens sometimes.
I don't know if you know.
I think I want a little bit more in my glass just so I can go and compare in a minute because that'll be all of it. I poured way light. Okay. Precious, my precious.
We're supposed to be finishing it off.
Yeah. Well, we have plenty to go through too. So the second one. Hey Martin, good to see you, friend. Hope you're doing well. You have to go check out Scotch for Dummies new video, which is a blind with Martin here, our friend Martin. So go check that one out. Meant to grab the URL. Somebody can grab the URL for that and put it in. That would be awesome. So everyone says, according to our good friend from Canada, Chad, older whiskeys sometimes age aqua regalia with added aqua regalia. So they add the water to it as it ages. Maybe so. I know they're doing that to bourbons now. Good night, almighty, the color. So this one you open. The other ones were already open, but this one you open. We've had it poured for a hot minute or two. Our second dram, we go from the 50's distillation to the 60's. Now my generation, and I don't even want to know when your parents were born, so we're not going to say that.
Well, my dad was 57.
Oh, was he? Okay. Well, good. I feel a little bit better now. So yeah, the second dram, 1967. It is 33 years old. So we walked off 20 years.
Yeah.
It's okay. Also a Speyside. It was bottled in 2000, 1967, so 33 years. It's a Gordon MacPhail at 40 ABV. And this one is the Gordon MacPhail rare old single malt whiskey. And it is Tom and Towel. So I'm going to, if we get back behind it, there we go. It'll focus on this one. Just beautiful. Y'all, the color. Yeah. It looks like, you said cough syrup a while ago. I mean, so Tom and Towel is really known for being a light, gentle dram. 33 years in a cask. Guarantee you it was, is sherry for sure, but
First fill sherry.
First fill sherry. That makes sense. So it was founded by whiskey broker firm W&S Strong and Hay and McLeod in 1964. Very good year. And in the 70s, the number of stills doubled from 2 to 4. And it's 8 miles from the village of its name. And yeah, it's kind of, so first fill sherry, but
and I was mispronouncing it.
Everybody mispronounces this one. I didn't learn it was Tom and Towel until I got there. Towel. Give it a Scottish accent. So Andrew teaches us something every week. Aqua regia is a very strong acid. Only thing that you know is it dissolves gold. Lovely. Definitely not in whiskey. Glad to hear that. I don't need that for sure. Yep, for sure. So people are saying, speaking of Campbelltown, cheers to Jennifer is at Springbank. Jennifer is at Springbank. And let me tell you, wait for it. Wait for it. She is having the time of her life. This is Jennifer. The first pic is from yesterday where she was laying down malt on the floors of Springbank. And I hope you can see the absolute joy on her face. She later laid down in the malt and did barley angels instead of snow angels on that. And then she went over today. She sent this picture to me this morning where she was rolling casks out. So she is having an absolute blast. We had a great conversation on the text yesterday, and she's having so much fun and is exhausted. But she's having a great time, y'all. So I knew y'all would want to see those pics of her living her best life for sure. Relatively new. Tomatow's only since been 65. That's interesting. When you think about Strathisla is 1750 something, I think. Yep. Hey Chris, good to see you. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in from Alberta. I love all my peeps up there.
So this is only 2 years in.
2 years in, and from 65. So this is spirit that was 2 years after they started. Goodness. Big time sherry on the nose. But muted, like you're not getting like sherry bomb. So for reference, like an Oloroso, it didn't say which type. I would imagine it's Oloroso. But like an Allardyce or a Revival Glendronach, where you get that nutty kind of savory sherry right punch in the nose. That's not here. This is very, I don't want to say muted as in it's not bright. It's just, it doesn't scream at you, sherry. I get a little bit of like a burnt sugar kind of sweetness on the nose. Not a lot of citrus. Some maybe.
A little creme brulee.
Yeah, you got to get the spoon and hit the crunchy part on the top. Yeah, Chris, pour one for us. Join us.
So I snuck a sip while you were talking.
Okay.
But it surprised me just as much.
Yeah.
When I opened it, I took the neck out, and it was nothing like this.
Okay.
I was actually afraid it was going to be a disappointment, but it's not.
It's so not. But we've had this sitting out for at least 20, 30 minutes.
At least.
Right?
Yep.
Well, we're 30 minutes in, so yeah, because it was almost an hour. Yeah. Wow. So walk through that from the neck pour that you had to this. Where do you see that it opened up, and what are you tasting now?
It was, before one, I had not had anything earlier, but it was, I guess, it's almost bitter.
It's almost punchy.
What's the word? Astringent?
Yeah.
And really oaky. But I literally opened it. I broke the cork, took the cork out, and poured it. And it was nothing like this.
So I'm getting like lightly sweet raisins and dark chocolate, like a little dark bitter chocolate. It's very clean.
Yep. I have to go back for the chocolate, but I got the raisins right off.
Yeah. So that tells me this may have been PX, because I get more raisin notes on a PX Pedro Menace and I get more nutty notes on an Oloroso. And the color of this stuff, good Lord Almighty.
And it's only 33 years.
It's only 33 years. It's 40 ABV, but it has some tooth to it. Like where I got more oak, which 20 more years in oak barrel, okay, you can understand that. I just get a hint of it on the finish here. But you know what I'm saying? So this is going to say it's almost like a sugarless raisin. Like it's not super, super sweet like a raisin, but you get that kind of aftertaste of, you know, like if you have a raisin and you kind of have that smell aftertaste thing. That's when every time I like inhale through my mouth, is what I'm getting on there. To geeking about it. Oh, I just love y'all talk amongst yourselves. I love y'all so much, but this is I'm trying to concentrate on these for sure. So Tomatal, see I did it again. Tomatal is one of the most remote distilleries and one of the highest. So highest is in elevation, I'm guessing, because it said hikers really like being around. That's interesting.
It's like I'm not going to Tomatal.
You don't do hiking?
Not much of a hiker.
They have things called hills there. Graham made me go up hills in Sterling, and I'm like, I'm a flatlander, boo. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'll make it up the hill. We'll do all kinds of things for whiskey. Oh man, that's nice. It's just it's very balanced. Like you got a little bit of the sweet, but it's so not over oaked, and like I said, it's almost like a light version of a raisin. You still kind of get that residual kind of grit, kind of, you know what, from a raisin. If you chew on a raisin, you kind of get that kind of that grapiness, but I think it's like the sun-dried part of it, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, 2. Boo. We're going to number 3. Now we're still in the 60s. And this time we're coming off the still in 1969. The Summer of Love. You think about the music that was around in these days. You know, 57, you probably had things like Buddy Holly and Elvis, and then in 67, and you're starting to get kind of into the, you know, rock and Hendrix and the Doors and the Moon.
Yeah, Landing on the Moon.
Landing on the Moon. Goodness. Wow. So, let me see the bottle. We didn't tell them what it is.
Yeah.
So, so this is also another Gordon MacPhail. This is a Linkwood, a 1960. I know.
Hide behind it.
I know. Yeah. So it can't focus on it. 1969 Linkwood, and it was bottled in 2006. So, how long have you had the bottle open? Do you know? As you go through them, no judgment, but you go through them pretty fast, so they don't have a whole lot of time to oxidize.
I probably got that one last year.
So don't think it's been open since 2006 is my point.
Oh no.
You know, because that
wasn't the cork. That probably none of these have the same cork except the Lefroy.
Yeah.
Because they all break off because
they're old and they need, especially if they don't stay wet, they'll disintegrate. And shout out to my friends at Gordon MacPhail, but corks, as we talked about on a previous bottle, it's a natural, you know, product. It's going to have it's got to have a certain amount of moisture for it to retain its properties. Huh. Okay.
All right, snuck a sip, but
That's okay. So this is at 43 ABV as well. So these are our 3 Speyside. So I nosed back to the Tomatel, and all I get is pancake syrup.
going back to
Yeah. Hey, Chuck. Good to be
it's
here.
funny you said pancake syrup because I get like it's on a pancake, not just maple syrup.
Yeah. Like you get the maltiness from the pancake.
Yep.
Okay. That's that one. Okay. I'm trying to remember like where we are. So Martin, we're at your birth year in 1969. Awesome. Yours and Chuck's Malt Minions. Hey friend, thanks for being in. So Graham says, this is like, where do you get this knowledge drop just right there on you? Early Tomatel was blending whiskey for Gordon and MacPhail. Often when they made their own casks with Tomatel and new make spirit, they matured it at their Elgin warehouses. Of course they did. So Gordon and MacPhail was basically kind of like a grocery store, and they made their own version, their own barrel picks for stuff. And then they turned out to an independent bottler, which is how most all of those folks did, for sure.
I've had a couple of those.
They've had some of the screw caps on the connoisseur's choice for that price range, and they're much better than the corks. Well, I imagine if they have a tighter seal, you know. Okay, so on this Linkwood from 1969, it is 37 years old because it was bottled in 2006. So we've had a 53, a 33, and now a 37.
6. Right? I thought you said 36. I'm sorry.
No, it's well, I don't know. It kind of depends on what time it's 37 if it was 2006 and 1969.
That's what I thought.
Did it say 36 on
it
there?
Says 36.
Oh, then it depends on what month, I guess. Yeah.
It always confuses me too.
I just did math. That's all I did. With the help of, stuff. Oh, man, this is so fragrant. Really bright and fragrant on the nose. Almost floral.
Mm-hmm.
I get more citrus on this one.
Floral, but still some sugar on the nose.
And it's 43. It's interesting because I haven't been drinking a lot of 40-43 whiskeys.
Me either. At all.
And because your palate gets away from it. Mine has, but I'm going to tell you, this doesn't taste like these old 40 and 43s have something else in them. Some other intrinsic value that's popping the flavor on them that I find a modern 40, 43 to be quite flat and one-dimensional. And you have to think too, most everything was still blends. Not until 1964, I believe. Andrew, Graham, y'all gonna have to be my Jiminy Cricket on this, but that's when Glenfiddich started doing a single malt as a commercial thing. So they really didn't commercially sell single malts because everything was used for blends. So what we have are things where they go back and they find that one cask and they're doing those things and batching them and making them a single malt from that long time ago. But in 1957, single malts were not really part of.
So maybe they were saving them for a blend before.
Yes. Yeah. They were.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I knew Andrew would know. I knew it was Glenfiddich, 1963. That was the first marketed commercial single malt because everything else was blends. And blend still is like 70-80% of the market. Not my market, not your market.
No.
Although if all of the blends tasted like that old Perth that Graham gave me, then that might be a different thing. So what do you get on this?
I get more of a sugary cotton candy, but we just came from a very woody 53 and 30 some year old. Definitely not as sherry. I'm not really.
It's much lighter to me than that Tomatau was.
But you still feel the age of it.
Yeah. It's got kind of that musty dunnage smell to it too, and tastes like the old book thing, which I find is an absolutely hilarious tasting note, because never in my life have I opened up an old book and just like
wanted to
licked a page and said, "Oh, that's a great tasting note. It's like old book," but it tastes like old book smells. Maybe I don't know.
Just when you open it up and go through the pages.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite characteristics. Which I originally got on Belvini 30, but I have two open now, and I don't get the old book like I get
on these. Yeah. So I keep going back to the previous ones. We will make sure you get home to your wife tonight, but so that Linkwood was much different on the nose. It was much lighter on the nose, lighter on the palate than the other two. And I like being able to do that, because when you have multiple drams out, whether you know what they are or not, doesn't have to be a blind. Just take 3 different, space sides, take 3 different islas or whatever, and then pour them out, let them rest a bit. But when you get to them, you start tasting them, and then you go back to them after you've tasted, after you've nosed them, you're going to pick up other notes out of it. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to be able to say, well, this one smells more floral than that one. I mean, you're going to be able to notice the differences more than if you just don't have, oh my gosh, zebra down. You're going to notice those differences because you have a compare and contrast, right? Oh, me. So this is number 4. We're still in the 60s. No, we're at 70s. 1970.
Next year.
The next year. So our 4th dram is also 43. And keep in mind too, which I was talking to Kevan about this earlier, these are 750s. So these were for the American market. Unless Graham and Andrew could tell me there was a period of time when they didn't do this. But this was 2006 that it was bottled, 1970. So now we're looking at actually just 22 years old, right? No, we're still in number 4. Sorry. Yeah, that's right. This one. So we're 36 years old, actually. Goodness gracious. 36 years old.
Same age.
Yeah. So, So they're both 2006. Right. So it depends on what month it was.
Yeah.
That's the deal. Okay. This is a Mortlock. Let me try to get in there. All right. Try to get out of it. I know.
I gotta get behind the bottle.
I know. I'm trying to get. There we go. It's a Mortlock 1970. Gordon MacPhail. Wow. Look at the color. Color. That's like Edward Dark. Isn't that Tomatau? So a Highland but you know,
But it's more
basically Speyside. That's got to be a first fill sherry, you would think, because I'm getting like cherry and stone fruit and like a little bit of honey on it. You know, Chris, absolutely. You know, to be in the cask for that long and not have the wood overwhelm it, and be a second, I had to be a second or third fill, you know, and maybe recast at some point, maybe so. But I don't know. Sometimes I think like a second or third fill has more of a wood influence on a whiskey. Just because maybe not so much of the sherry part of it, but the wood has more of a chemical reaction. I don't know. It just seems to be the way. So Graham, I can tell you, y'all, all this knowledge being dropped. So the 775 CL has been the standard for the U.S. market, at least since the metric took over from ounces. Funny how we were like, nah, we might have a 2-liter bottle of Coke, but that's about all we're committing to as a nation. Oh, yeah. Okay, so and Andrew, right there with it, I love it. Went to the 26 2/3 fluid ounces to the 750 and 80s, and then the 700 in 1991. Okay. And the export level, 43 for us, because there's still some things like I know I had an NOC 12 that was 43, but it was only 40 over in the UK, much to y'all's chagrin. I love that we both had your 1969. Y'all were a very special vintage. Of course you are. You're awesome like that. Oh, okay. So the compass box call that a Velicor. You have one of those, don't you? And they charge a lot for it. Yeah, pretty tasty. So this one, I could just sit and smell this one. And this is our middle dram, y'all. So thanks for hanging in there with us. It goes fast, but we're not drinking these fast because they're too good to drink fast. And have a bunch of little sample bottles. So I'm not gonna overindulge here.
It's just really good.
What are the tasty notes? It's really good. I mean, so I can't fake stuff. I just really can't. Wow. Okay, 36 freaking years old, and it just like pops. It's got a really bright flavor to it.
I feel like it fades quick, but it's there when.
Yeah, like really robust and bright stone fruits, like stewed fruits though, and super balanced. There's not a whole lot of again, most of the wood is showing up in the finish.
Yep.
Wow. Nose on this, I get a little bit more citrus maybe. Morlocks are known for their kind of meatiness.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
say.
You
know, it's almost has that how that one Kilkerran is kind of that one Kilkerran 8 that's so meaty and savory.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It has that kind of tendency to it. It's got a tooth to it. Like you could chew this for a little bit. The Beast of Dufton. heavily sherried whiskey, 2.81 times distillation, and worm tubs. Yes, that's a big part. Kevan goes, yeah, worm tubs. That's did it.
Well, my buddy Charles, like, will drink something and he'll go, oh, well, they took the worm tubs from this and they brought it to this and then they started distilling. It's like that, whatever book you pulled out earlier.
Yeah.
He reads that.
Yeah.
He knows a lot.
And the malt handbook, the malt yearbook. Yeah. We all kind of
and I'm just
do
like,
that.
Oh, it's good.
It's good. And that's the thing. You don't necessarily get all like into the geekness of it. You just know what you like and what you want to drink, right?
Yeah, I get geeky with it too.
So
but I just want it to be good.
How did you get into whiskey?
My father-in-law, actually, I was a bourbon drinker, and then my father-in-law invited me to Martin's Scotch tasting, and that was in 2015. And
wow!
Since then, I've been.
So you're only a year ahead of me in my journey. Okay, so Martin's is a local Louisiana liquor store. And they do some pretty cool tastings. I wish they did more Scotch than they do really here around here for sure. Drinking with Roy took a couple hours. Yeah, it did, didn't it? And I'm gonna tell you, Roy put out his best, and it's on par with all of this. So when I went over the summer, Roy Acavite, who's got like the best channel on Scotch Whisky, and has such great in-depth discussions about things, and a quiz that none of us want to take, but we take, and we hopefully get 5 out of 10. The more we read that book, the better we do on the test. I'll tell you that.
That's that detail.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But he's like, I'm tired of griping about things. Let's just have the best Drams I've got. And we did, I think we did 7 or actually 9 maybe that night, which was one of his bottles was a Brewer 35 that was his birthday bottle. It was amazing. So yes, Bruce, we're going to take our time for sure. Absolutely.
It was the same Brewer.
Well, it looks like it, but I don't know that it was, because I'm sure they did a couple of different casts that were, Oh man. So this one does surprise me. I mean, it's kept that meaty kind of savory note that Mortlocks are all about. It's got a punch to it, even though it's only 43%. I'm with you that it kind of fades after the initial flavor.
The fruitiness goes away.
Yeah,
but the woodiness is there.
The woodiness, but the woodiness is not like astringent. Like, it's not wow.
No.
Like some of those, and I talk about it on here a lot. It smells like a lumberyard, or it tastes like a lumberyard would smell.
Yeah.
And that's not this case at all. You just kind of get that hint on, your breath in of kind of some wood there. Interesting.
Are we moving?
Right. We're moving to 5. I'm going to have a sip of water and check in with everybody. So, Martin was living his best life doing Edinburgh Whiskey Academy at the Wizard Academy in Austin last couple weeks. And he got to hit the Bellecour at the vaults. Awesome. Since Drew and I drank all the Deanston 20 when we were there. So sorry. Not sorry. I have to start my own quiz. No, you can run the quiz for me, Graham. You can run the quiz. I know I can't do that. But yeah, so I know we've talked about Compass Box a little bit, and I think all of us are still kind of reeling over the departure of John Glazer, which is interesting. If you've seen the promos for the latest hedonism that he's done with the absolutely stunningly gorgeous bottling. The artwork is amazing. You'll see there's a caption of him walking into the Royal Mile Whiskies in Edinburgh. I was there that day. It was the day I was there the day that they were filming that. It was right before I was going to go to R&B distillers, Isle of Raasay folks, to talk with them. And I was there, and I was like, "What is the camera crew doing at Royal Mile Whiskey?" And I'm like, "Are y'all open?" Like, "Yeah, come on in." So I went in, and there's a camera crew on this guy looking very discerning at a bottle, and I was like, "Holy smoke, that's John Glaser." I think I'm gonna go now. It was pretty cool. So yeah, to think that was him kind of filming his swan song, his last hedonism. He started with it and he's ending with it. So now this particular one, oh wow, okay. I'm gonna put that over there for a second. So number 5, this is our last Highland before we get into a couple of Islas. And everything's gonna change on that. Wow. Here, you can put this on top if you want. So this one, we're 1971. I really should have looked up music on, like, I purposely moved my Alexa out of this room because every time I would say something, she would like pipe up. But 1971.
So it's just another year.
Right. This is Glenmorangie, 1971. Okay, folks. Let me get it right there. You can hide behind Kevan.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. There we go. 1971, Glenmorangie. Let me do it that way so you can see. This bottle, good gravy, y'all. This one's only 22 years old. 1971, it was bottled in 1993. Why was it bottled in 1993? Because it is the celebratory bottling of the 150th anniversary of the distillery from 1843. So this was back when Glenmorangie was owned by Brown Forman, way back in the day. Still had the 16 men of Tame, which were the 16 men that worked at the distillery. So yeah, so this was select certain casks from particular year for the exceptional quality and matured malt. The bottling commemorates the 150th anniversary of official opening of Glenmorangie Distillery in 1843. Wow. Wow.
Is that an original cork?
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
with the original cork.
That year.
I mean, with the original cork. Wow. Wow. Okay. Whew. Whiskey drinking is hard work. Very interesting nose on this.
It is.
Yeah. Oh, so you were more shocked about the departure of Simo's from Milrose. See? I didn't know about that. Goodness. Okay.
Where's Milroy?
Milroy is what is Milroy? That's isn't that Irish? Surely not. I can't remember. So Glenmorangie was still doing their own floor maltings in 1971. Yeah, they weren't doing I wonder what their capacity was at that time. What is on this nose? It's almost like I don't want to say because I don't want to. What do you think is that kind of different thing on a nose? It's almost like an orange peel, grapefruit peel, pith kind of.
I was thinking it was a little bit more funky.
It's funky. It's not Campbelltown funk, but there's some.
For Glenmorangie,
Milroy. Yeah, the whiskey shop in Milroy. Okay. Say again.
For Glenmorangie, to me, this is like as funky as it gets.
Oh yeah, this is not what I would think of as a Glenmorangie on the nose.
Got your orange pills.
Wait till you taste it.
I did.
Oh, you did? It's bringing the orange out in Glenmorangie. Wow. Like blood orange. Like macerated blood orange compote kind of thing. Not too super sugary sweet. Wow.
It had a really good mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Until the end. Till the finish.
Mm.
I don't know what that is, but it's good.
You heard it here, folks. The 1971 150th anniversary Glenmorangie. It's good. You see, if you say it's smooth, I'm going to push you out of your chair. Because it really isn't the back. I mean, so again, this is 43%. It has a good little bit of heat on the back end of this thing. And it's just kind of lingering, a lingering warmth there. And that's where I get more of the orange peel. A little bit of the wood, but not. I think that's the biggest surprise of all of this is that none of it's over oaked. None of it is just woefully lumberyard. Now, granted, the first one was a good bit, but it should be at that. But it's still balanced, It isn't like it's not off-putting.
No, it's not.
So, the.
It's really good. I'm sorry.
So when we were at the in Island Whiskey Academy and we were having a tasting with Jim McEwen, and it's like this is the godfather up there, the Muhammad Ali of whiskey making, and he's like talking to us, and part of part of it is the shtick and the show and all the stuff, and he's like looking at how does it fit and how's it working in the glass and everything. But I won't ever forget, his point is when you take that first sip or that first nose, identify, is there anything off-putting? Different is not necessarily off-putting, but something that, or unexpected is not off-putting. Is there anything really just off-putting about it? If that's the case, then okay, it might be a preference thing. It might be something not great about the whiskey. But if not, then allow yourself to just enjoy all the other intrinsics it's bringing, and that's how you judge whether or not you like a whiskey.
So I hope this doesn't come across as bad with the bourbon drinkers, but most of us are Scotch drinkers, right?
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
So to me, bourbon is great if there's no bad qualities or bad notes. Scotch, you can have zero bad notes and it can just be okay. But if a bourbon has no bad notes, it's like up there.
And part of that is palate.
Yeah.
Because everybody's palate is different and everybody's getting certain things off of it. No, you don't need to be sorry, because your palate is your palate. That's the whole point. But when you're talking about, because you all know my palate is not in tune with bourbon. Now, Saturday, you poured something for me that I'm like, I can hang with this really well. It was exquisite, but it was not a
Buy it off the shelf.
no, it was not a normal, it wasn't a mere mortal person's bourbon. Let me put it that way. The other part about Scotch, I feel, is there's so many variables in a way because it's, yes, it's malt, yes, it's yeast and it's water and it's oak. You can't really deviate from that. You can't build this really fancy different grain mash bill for a single malt. But what you can do is you can play with the cuts, with the fermentation time, with all of these other things that have an effect on the taste. And then depending on how you want that spirit to come off of the still, then you can also marry and match different types of casks that do have that influence. And that's something that until bourbon changes, that's where you see so many finished bourbons now, because they are doing what they have to be called bourbon on the front end. And then they're re-racking things to get them a different flavor profile by finishing them in non-new oak casks. It's really good.
See, I told you.
It is what it is. Yeah. I hope y'all are enjoying this. I wish you all could have a sip, believe me. But there's also, what is that funk on there? Dang it.
There's a little funk. But it's a good funk.
It's almost like, I want to say celery.
On the nose or
on the nose. It's not the taste. But there's like this celery seed, almost like a spice celery seed. Right at the back, right at the end of the nose. This is so weird. And again, that has to do with what you're exposed to and what you're used to. I don't know how much you cook with celery seed.
Just put it on the grill.
You just put it on the grill. Wow. Okay, before we get into the last two, I want to go
to the Marlot.
I just want to go back to all of them. Whiskey from the Vestibule. Hello, welcome. Glad you could join us tonight. We are having some unbelievable drams, thanks to the generosity of this guy, who not only did I talk him into sharing his whiskey, I corrupted him to come and be my guest.
That's what you had to talk me into.
I know it wasn't. He was giving his whiskey freely. It was like, okay, but I want you on the show too. These are your drams or your goodness. So to recap, Whiskey from the Vestibule. Again, welcome and thanks. We're starting. God, that Strap Allen is totally different on the nose now.
I got more
almost grassy, and
yeah.
So a 1950 distillation date. Let me go back to my notes because 1957, 53-year-old Speyside Strath Isla, bottled in 2010.
I got sugary notes on the palate that time, which there was a lot of wood on it before.
Yeah. But I get more of the grassy kind of hay and like a lemongrass almost.
Lemongrass.
And wood on the finish. 53 years in a cask. I mean, come on. Our second dram.
It's doing things.
I'm still getting syrup on pancakes on the 1967 33-year-old Tomatal at 40 ABV. Little grapiness then. A lot more grapiness on the end of that one. You're not getting it?
No, well, I just got Old Church.
Old Church? Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, yeah, my tasting notes.
Old Church on the Tomatal. Yeah, like the varnish and the frankincense and myrrh, and
Yeah.
the priest is going through, and
Yeah.
he's got the thing waving. I went to Catholic school for a while. It's about as much as I know. Our third dram. What does old church smell like? Of all people, you should know what old church smells like,
What's
Mark. Come on. Like old hymnals and ladies' perfume, white shoulders perfume. What are you doing shaking up the bottle?
Oh, that's just what I do.
Okay.
Get all the sediments at the bottom.
The third dram was the Linkwood 1969. Gee, 36-year-old Speyside. Not as sweet as the other ones. That's the one that was much lighter.
Yeah. Not as sweet though? The Linkwood?
The Linkwood? Not up against that one, it wasn't. Not on revisiting it.
That's the Buddha.
I'll cover that sucker. So the fourth dram was the Meaty Mortlock. Dustin, hey friend, good to see you. Thanks for being in. I know I posted this on our Discord. I do wish y'all could taste some of this. It is freaking amazing. Okay, and then the Glenmoe. This still has that funk. It's like a super old book. It's like musty, kind of a dank basement. Celery seed. I still get celery seed on that. I can't not.
I'm thinking
think
of
of it
celery. I don't know celery seed, but I know celery salt.
Yeah, it's just
Same thing.
Yeah, like because celery's not one of my favorite things, but like when you're cooking with it and you pull those strings off of it and you kind of get it aspirates that kind of smell. Yeah. Amazing. Holy moly. Okay, so that's the roundup. 3 Speysides, 2 Highlands. I gotta have some water. Never heard celery seed tasting note before, Mark, but you know me. Do you know this person?
Oh yeah.
Hey Alicia, thanks for being here. We're having lots of fun. Hey Dev.
Hey Dev.
I'm guessing Dev is a buddy of yours.
Brother-in-law.
Hey.
Through marriage.
Very nice to meet you.
It's my wife's sister's husband.
Very good. Evidently, you married well too.
Devery.
Because he definitely married well. No old church smell. Oh, come on.
No old church smell.
I know you've been in a couple of old churches. You've got to be able to smell that. Okay, so 5 so far. 2 more to go, y'all. Are you adorable yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. No. I'm just giggling. I'm just giddy. I'm so happy about all this. It's just too much fun. Okay, number 6. Buna is bueno. Y'all know I say that all the time. This is a 32-year-old Bunnahabhain, bottled in 2022, so distilled in 1989. Want to look at that color? Color. Good gravy, right? So here's your Bunna. I really need a manicure. Duncan Taylor rather. A tall bottle. So this one is 48 ABV, so a little higher than we've had before. 32-year Isla. Oh my gosh. Gee whiz. Y'all, you know I love Bunna. I'm gonna have to talk to David Brody about this. So David Brody is a buddy who a lot of folks know who've gone to Bunnahabhain, who runs the warehouse tasting, and he is a hoot and a half. And one of the things, it's really made a big impact on my mark when we were there this summer, last summer, was people talk about the cask and the whiskey just, sleeping in the cask and all that stuff. And David made the beautiful, illustration of the fact that no sleeping is happening. There's work happening. That whiskey and that spirit is working its way, and the cask is working.
Right.
And so he particularly doesn't care for that kind of
the term
the
sleeping.
shtick. It's sleeping in the cask. It's working. So what are you getting? Like, Brody is the man. I'm gonna take a screenshot and I'm gonna send that to him tomorrow. Brody is the man. This right here. Brody is the man right there. Yep.
So for the longest time, I thought that wrench right there,
Yeah.
and Mark MG,
Yeah.
I thought that was your husband. That's not your husband.
No, the Mark Rayner is the husband.
Right.
The Mark JG is one of my whiskey
I
buddies.
that a long time ago.
That's okay. I have like 4 or 5 marks, and I usually just say my mark. So
what's the wrench for?
The wrench is they're an admin.
Okay.
So if somebody gets ugly, they can kick them off. Yeah, nice. It's nice. It's nice to have my buddies and my hubby watching out. I had one of my the very first, almost 3 years we've been doing the show, and the first kind of like odd comment was just, "This is a poor presentation." It was on the Kilkerran 8s, and I was like, "Well, Boo, maybe you need to go find another channel. I'm sorry, yeah. This wasn't for you." So this Boona is not heavily peated as most Boonas are. I'm wondering if there's any, because I'm not really peat blind, but on the nose, I'm not getting it. We'll see. We'll see if the palate shows something else.
I think I'm peat blind.
David Brody is a disco DJ in the Bamor Hotel as well. I did not know that. Oh my gosh. I bet he can boogie down like nobody else. He's an absolute gem. You need to follow him on Instagram. Holy smoke. Speaking of smoke, I got smoke. Not a whole lot of peat, just a little bit of smoke. There's Whiskey in the Vestibule is like, wait, what? There's a disco in Bamor Hotel. I mean, like, oh my gosh. So tell me what you're getting.
So the front end goes and comes quick, and then it finishes long.
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't know what I'm getting on the front end.
What do you get on in the nose? I like rum raisin. You got to think this has got to be like a sherry. Does it have any information about the casking on it?
It's a cast number.
Well, I have a browser and I'm not too afraid to use it. Oh, but I don't have a... Wait a minute. Let's see if I can do this. Go over here so I can see what I'm doing. Let's see. Duncan Taylor. Boona. HABHAIN. 32 year.
Like a watered down cough syrup.
Watered down cough syrup.
On the nose.
Yeah.
I think this was a bottle split between a friend, and it was really recent. I don't know how old the bottle is though.
This isn't 79. What is it?
2022.
Yeah. But it was 1989 was the, yeah.
Shout out to my wife. That's when she was born.
Oh, wow.
Not
That's
it.
not it. Huh. That's an octave. Yeah. Duncan Taylor.
To me, it does a lot more on the palate than the nose.
Yeah, on the nose, I'm getting a lot of kind of that, like I said, rum raisin. That's not it. It's just it.
Definitely get the raisins.
So Dev is a Taylor Swift fan?
I know his wife is, but also T Swift.
Hey, so you may see Harry Styles back here. We were talking about that earlier. I'm collecting One Direction boy band members. So last year was Harry Styles and Louis Tomlinson. This year, Jennifer and I are going to go and see Niall Horan. So then we just have Zayn and Liam left after that. But my ride and die music friend and I are headed to Chicago this weekend to see the Snuts, who are a Glaswegian band with doing their first North America tour. So that's gonna be fun. Okay. So see, that's what we found was the octave. Yeah, but this is not an octave. This is their Duncan Taylor version. Man, very tasty. And also also clean, not a dirty dram.
I kind of like dirty drams these days.
I do like dirty drams. I get more of a like the sherry tannin, the wine tannin on this.
Yep.
And the sweetness on that part.
The drying.
Yeah.
So I still have something left. What's that?
What's that one?
The Craig
Alki?
Alki,
yeah. We started with that one. Yeah, let me pour some water in that. So yeah, our 7th and final. Thanks for hanging in there with us, y'all. The unicorn bottles. We have a whole herd of unicorns here. Good gravy.
Is the guy that wakes up at 2 a.m. still around?
Yeah, Graham.
Really?
Yep, it's Graham and and Andrew too. Both of them. Andrew's in England and Graham is in Scotland. Rob said it best. Dirt is the best. This is where we're getting into the dirt. This is where I'm getting the peat. Hang on.
And dirty drums.
That's awesome. And Dev is also a Harry Styles fan. That's good to know. Although I absolutely abhor watermelon sugar. Oh, good Lord.
Oh shit.
That's okay.
Excuse me. I broke my wife's rule. I cussed.
She was like Saturday, just don't cuss a whole lot. It's like, that's okay.
One time.
It's all right. It's all good. Okay. I'm gonna put a lid on that for a second. Our final seventh and final dram, as Harry Styles goes. I think Harry Styles would even like a dirty dram, but that's a whole nother conversation. Is a Lafroy 30. And this is not a recent off the shelf bottle of Lafroy 30.
The old sherry cask.
This is okay, an old sherry cask. So here's our final dram, the Lafroy 30. Again, this one is a 750 or 75 CL, 43 ABV. You think probably in the 80s or 90s, you think, or when do you think? This one was hard to find to kind of figure out their distillation date.
It's either 80s or 90s. I'm not sure though.
Yeah. Yes, Watermelon Sugar High, not my favorite song. He has so many other good songs. Like, no, just no.
It
Hard
wasn't
no.
a bad song, though.
It's a bubblegum song.
Yeah.
But not all of his songs are bubblegum songs. Like, he has some really good ones.
Tell Graham Fraser, just talk to people. Whether it's getting your hair cut or at a bar.
Right. So we will say that, like, you were getting your hair cut and you found out that your hairdresser's father-in-law had passed away? Or
No, my hairdresser was cutting a lady's hair.
Okay.
And she said, "Oh, I would like
the lady
a nice cocktail right now." And I said, "I'd like a nice scotch." And she said, "Scotch?"
There you go.
My husband loves scotch. And he had a smorgasbord of awesome scotch.
So you had a lot.
And that was my first like big collection that I bought.
Yeah. So she had her late husband's, bottles and wanted someone who could appreciate them. And in walks Kevan. A beautiful time.
More than
should have bought a damn lottery ticket too while you're at it. Jeez. Yeah, but that's a big part of it is talking to people and having never met a stranger kind of. I have a feeling you're kind of like that too. So Rob, you need some peat. Go ahead and get some peat. I mean, wow, but on the nose, that doesn't.
It's not your typical Lefroy.
It is so not your typical Lefroy. It is not your, Band-Aid, maritime, medicinal. I do not get. We were talking about palettes a while ago. I do not get the medicinal note that a lot of people do.
Not anymore. Do you remember it though?
Oh yeah. And licorice is not my favorite thing.
Man.
That aniseed, my mother loves black jelly beans. Easter time, I just pick them all out, put them in a little bag and say, "Love you, Mom." Just don't eat these around me because whatever I smell, I'll taste. So your friend Dev is a comedian too?
He tries to be.
He tries to be. Bless your heart. I should be talking about my boys' haircut.
We have some good laughs.
No. Oh, man. So, funny thing about that.
I don't know what he's talking about. Is he talking about one of the Jonas Brothers again?
No, he's talking about Harry Styles. Because he shaved his head. But it's like coming back. It's all good. So, Graham says that the oldest bottle in his stash is that 40-year Lefroy. Somebody gave me a sample of a 40 Lefroy.
Had one.
From the 60s, distilled by Bessie Williamson.
What?
Okay.
I didn't know.
It's worth a fortune, so I'm not sure it'll ever open it. You have the whole bottle?
No, open it. It's delicious.
You have the whole bottle? Okay, so for those who may not know, Bessie Williamson, this weekend is International Women's Day. Bessie Williamson is a perfect example of the prowess of women in whiskey. Because not only did she, she graduated from school, I think in Glasgow, maybe, and then went and was the secretary at Lefroy. Do you know the story about Bessie?
Not all of it, but it's starting to come back.
And so she was the secretary and ran a tight ship and did her thing at Lefroy, and World War II happens, and they're going to have to shut down Lefroy.
Yep.
And the distillery manager goes, because everybody had to go, all the men had to go off to war. It's like, nope, Bessie's going to run it. And Bessie not only ran it, she also ran ammunitions out of Isla. So she was at ammunition stores there at Isla and supplying the Allies with ammunition. And she got Lefroy into Australia and South America and the States. So Bessie's all that and a cup of tea, let me tell you.
So after the 30, you should try the 40.
Okay. That is awesome. Don't like black licorice either. I know, friend. I don't
mind smelling it though.
No, I can't. I run from it.
Really?
Oh, I gotta run from it because I can taste it all. I can't go in I run. I go into Dillard's or I go into a department store on the back side of I cannot go from the mall side where all the perfume is. I taste all of that. Bed and Bath and Body Shop or whatever that place. I cannot go in there. I can't Can't go in there.
Hmm.
And oh my gosh, if you go through like coming out of Glasgow or Edinburgh, you have to go through duty free with all the perfumes and stuff. I was like, no, just go. Just let me get over to the Scotch section to see when travel retail is there, and then I'll like work my way out. Absolutely, I love this. Graham, you know more than any of us. Whiskey is made to be drunk unless you need a college fund to college or a family member's cancer treatment. You pretty much need to drink that, boo. But I tell you what, if you want to wait till the next time we're over there to open it up, I'm not going to argue with you.
Or find someone that you sell it to that'll give you samples. That's what I do.
That's a big part of it. Because, a lot of these bottles, I would imagine, now I've got the smoke of the peat on the mouth. Wow, yeah. Thanks, Mark, for being here. I appreciate you hanging in there late with us, friend. And I'm so stoked to see you in a couple of weeks. Cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. Waco is not going to know what happened to it when all the Louisiana people show up. Man. Yeah. Okay. Rob, no kidding, you were lucky to get a taste the 30 and the 40 at a local shop tasting. Wow.
That is nice.
That's nice. You didn't have to get a kidney for that or anything. That's pretty impressive. So Andrew says that you have the cosmetics shops called Lush and they have Crossroads. Yeah, you have to run from that. I mean, anybody who really is a connoisseur of taste or a super taster, Chris Everwind here is a super taster. You just like anything you smell, you taste. You do. So tell me what you're getting on this 30.
I think it's really good.
That's the theme for tonight. They're all really good, y'all.
Well, what's surprising me is I really thought it would just, I really thought after the middle, it would just be all,
okay.
It would just go all together and you really couldn't get anything out of it. But this is,
it's really good.
Yeah.
Oh man. Martin, I was wondering if you're gonna get to come. Bummer. I hate that, but you're going to be in Montana river rafting. I'm not crying for you, bud. You're gonna have a great time. That's fun.
Speaking of
Montana. Hey Matt, good to see you in.
Matt Williams, what did he say? Oh, see, I told you about that story.
So Matt's one of your buddies that you went on. He's not gotten like stage fright or anything, like introducing himself like he did evidently at your river rafting endeavor, Matt. He's been quite articulate once he started enunciating and projecting.
Trying.
It doesn't help that he sits next to a loudmouth area, so it's all good. I'm getting a little bit of an ashy note on the back end, like a Lafroy, but not the peat. I get more smoke on this than peat on the taste.
I agree. That nose is great.
It really is. I've only ever seen 2 reviews in the 1960s, Lafroy, one good, one bad. Imagine if I opened it and it was bad. Graham, you're going to have to open it. You're going to have to open it. It's just, it's too much. No one's guaranteed tomorrow, buddy. You need to open that bottle. Man. Oh, I'm so happy right now. I can't even stand it. I mean, I know I'm slightly adorable, but I'm really happy.
There's a point to me when I stopped trying to see what I'm tasting and just enjoy it.
After the 7th dram, you kind of have to do that anyway. You kind of have to do that anyway because, it's, again, there's nothing off-putting. It's kind of surprising. It's very mellow. And so this 30 Lafroig is quite balanced in that you have a little bit of the sweet front. I'm not getting a lot of the maritime or a lot of the like a briny or oiliness to it.
It's probably because it's sherry influence.
Yeah, I definitely from the sherry influence. I think you're totally right on that. And I think as peated whiskeys age, they lose their peat. I mean, that's one of the best things. And what's so cool about really young whiskeys and peat, a young whiskey can handle peat. You look at the Wee Beastie 5, something like that. It's pretty hot and it's astringent, but the peat kind of mellows it out some. This, I mean, when you have like an old Bamor or you have an older peated Isla, it just is much more subdued and elegant almost. This is very elegant to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wait until you get the 40. It's
I'm going to have the 40 when I've not had 7 other drams.
Probably.
In all
probably
fairness.
Best, but
it's
like a roller coaster, but it's not anything you would think. It's light, but it's complex. And it's up and down. It's awesome.
I'm getting a lot more sweetness off of this now.
Actually, Matt Williams, I always say burning hospital when it comes to Lafroig.
Mm-hmm.
His dad actually coined that term.
I can see that. Yeah. It's funny because I was talking to my friend Roy about this, about how we get hospital, like that iodine kind of Band-Aid kind of thing. That's not what hospital smells to people over there. Their hospital smell is root beer.
What?
Like the products that they use that we think of, it's more of a sarsaparilla kind of root beer smell. Yeah. And so it took a while, like lost in translation a little bit.
Yeah.
Because like, this doesn't smell like root beer. And it's like, well, no, that's root beer. This is iodine, you know? This is really pretty interesting on how that works.
What do their Band-Aids smell like?
Root beer.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like ours. Like in my nosing kit that I put together. Send her some
Band-Aids or something. Let's see what y'all's Band-Aids smell like.
We'll have a Band-Aid exchange or something, Man, I love it. I love that your friends are on here. I'm so glad. Are you not excited that I got this guy to come on the show with me? I'm pretty stoked about that. And not only just this time, but we have another show of some other incredible drams. There's only 4 of those, unless you find something else that we're going to have to put in there, which I'm not going to like cry over. Neosporin does not smell like maple syrup. No, indeed.
No.
No.
I don't think.
No.
I'm going to smell it tonight.
I think Deb's reaching now. Golly, y'all. This was amazing. These are some amazing drams. I'm really glad that you've decided that you want to like collect these kind of things, and I'm more than excited that you like me enough to share them.
Well, these aren't collectors.
No, they're because I say collecting in the sense that you go and find. Yes, the Glenmorangie 150th anniversary, that probably would be a collector's. But the fact is you find whiskey that you like. You have a network of groups of friends that you kind of share bottles with, which is a great way to be able to do that. I have a group of friends where we'll go together and buy a super bottle or whatever. And then everybody's able to have some of that. But you drink your whiskey. I mean, gotta hand it to you. You don't let it sit there. None of this is going to go stale. I can promise you. No. It really won't. But yeah, this was amazing, y'all. I hope you've enjoyed this, going through all of these. We go back and smell them and compare and contrast. They're amazing, amazing drams. Pretty cool. What was your favorite, you think?
Tonight, probably the 71 Glenmorangie, and the Lefroy 30 never disappoints.
No. It was much more mellow than I thought it was going to be. Like even the smoke and the ash on it is very subdued. It's just like a hint or a kiss of it rather than, knock you over the head. Because a lot of people think, and even I love how right by the kiln at Lefroy, they have painted on the wall. It's like licking the inside of a barbecue pit.
Yeah.
Because they have like the tasting notes from people that have given it. And that is not what this dram is. This is light, elegant, a little ashy, but very, very nice.
Ashy's not a bad thing to me. But when you say barbecue pit, I instantly go to Lagavulin.
Really?
Yeah.
Now I get more barbecue pit on Lefroy younger stuff. On the Lagavulin, I get more of that 3-dimensional mouthfeel, roundedness, oiliness. But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of palates. They're all different.
You think of the Lefroy 21?
No. That Lagavulin 21 that we had in your bathroom.
No, that was the.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm sitting here. I'm standing here in front of a 2-sink.
Did we dispose that already? Because my wife, before I got here, she said, that picture, that's in our bathroom. I said, there's a sink, there's a countertop.
Yeah.
It looks like a wet bar. It's fine.
Nobody knows that. Well,
nobody knows it's a wet bar.
Sarah, we didn't tell anybody.
Not our bathroom.
It's the bathroom. It's a very nice bathroom. It's a very nice house that you built. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. It should be in a magazine. But yeah, it was a different surreal. I have had drams in all kinds of places. That is the first time I have said, honey, I'm going to a man's house that have drams in his bathroom, and his wife be okay with it. I'm just saying.
The best bottles are in the bathroom.
The best bottles, so you can keep watch over them.
You gotta go through my bedroom to get to the good bottles.
Lord help me. It was pretty funny. So Graham says he has a bottle of Floyd 1991 Highgrove open from Prince Charles stock. Oh, from when Prince Charles came and bona fide it with the royal order. Okay. Well, please send me a sample for that. Absolutely. Needless to say, I'm going to be bringing you all kinds of stuff when I come back over. So Andrew, you said your most recent boss thought that Lefroy smells like germaline. I don't know what germaline is. Is that a cleaning agent? It sounds like some kind of UK cleaning stuff. You're gonna kill the germs or something. I'm not quite sure. I had to learn what pear drops were, y'all. I didn't know what pear drops was. Pear drops is like hard candy, but who knew what pear? No, it's a UK thing. Like I didn't know what that was, for sure. But yeah. So Graham says about his 40-year-old, he's keeping the bottle, looking at it, and his imagination runs wild about what Bessie was doing when she made it. That's a fun thing to do.
I did it for a long time.
Yeah. You didn't open your 40 for a long time?
For at least 4 or 5 years.
Okay, before you opened it?
Before I sold it, and
then you
my
got
friend
some sample.
bought it, and I got samples.
Well, as long as you get to experience it, that's the thing, right? I mean, you want to experience it, and just like that one bottle, like that Petit Vec, I mean, I got to really enjoy it, but I probably shared it with about 10 people who never would have gotten a Petit Vec ever, much less that one.
Still disappointed I didn't guess it right.
It's okay. It's all good. Germaline is an antiseptic ointment. Okay. Mom used it to rub on the grazes when you skinned your knee. Okay. Makes total sense. Makes total sense. Thanks so much, Tom. And I showed Kevan your wife's tile of the Stroth Island because it's just perfect for that. So I was glad I was able to have a Stroth Island in front of such a beautiful piece of work. So thank her again for that. Y'all, I hope you've had a fun time tonight. These drams were absolutely incredible. I'm going to do a screenshot of each of the labels again and put those on IG, and so you can look at them and shake your head along with me because I can't believe I got to have these. Thank you so much for bringing all this fun stuff. I'm going to grab this and move this over here to that. Y'all, thanks for being here. I know we've gone almost 2 hours. Appreciate it. These were not drams to drink fast. They were to be savored. I'm still going to savor them for a while. Thankfully, I do not have an early meeting in the morning. Kevan, thank you so much.
Solange.
Until next time. Solange, y'all.